appreciate that. And we got a good crowd tonight. Thank you guys for coming out, supporting your county commission, being interested in your county. Thank you to all the commissioners who come out tonight. Before we get rolling tonight, just remember we have Commissioner Joyce Melton-Barger. Remember her in your prayers as always. Remember any of those people who are battling illness, who are having issues in their family, whatever it may be. There's a lot of folks hurting, and we all know that. The world's a different place nowadays, and y'all know what I mean when I say that. So just remember, let's just remember everybody in prayer. But before we get started tonight, does anybody else have any prayer requests or anything we need to mention before we get going? If not, Joe, would you mind to lead some prayer, please?
Heavenly Father, we thank you, Father, for just your hand of blessing that you put over our county, Lord. I pray, God, that tonight you help us to make wise decisions that be pleasing to you and good for our county. And Father, I thank you for all your many blessings that you have given us. I pray that you keep us safe through this meeting, keep us safe throughout the rest of the night. Be with everyone as they go their own way. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Joe. Bill Cox, will you lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Bill Cox. All right, number 4 is roll call. So should have the iPad queuing up in just a second to go ahead and count yourself present, if you would, please. And joining us by phone, Amy, we have Becky Muncie and Jeff Dixon. Looks like we're all here. Joyce is the only one absent. We have a quorum. Moving right along. Number 5 is announcements. I just have a few folks. This is just a reminder. I believe Ginger told everyone today. But the governor's order for having meetings where commissioners can call in and join electronically expires this month. So next month, folks, you will either have to be here in person or you will be counted absent from the meeting. So again, the order does expire, so no more joining by phone. And that not only goes for county commission, but this is any public meeting for Union County. The order expires at the end of this month. Also, our budget committee met this past week to go over our budget. Our budget's looking good. We do have we are a little bit out of balance, if you will call it that. Not huge, but there are a lot of different options we can look at to get our budget in balance, and I think it's going to work out quite well. So, but anyway, remember, budget committee meets again in May to look, basically to vote on every function of the budget, including the school system. So, those of you on the budget committee, of course, be there. But any other commissioner having any questions, concerns, come to the meeting, ask questions. We'll have it next month. So, again, everything will be voted on, and the school system will be voted on next meeting, okay? So, all right, with that, that's about all I have. Any other announcements? If not, before we move on, I'm going to take this time to invite our health department director, Ms. Garnet Sutherland, if you'll come on up. Garnet just has some information that she wants to pass out to you guys, and just to give you an update on what's going on in Union County in regards to COVID and the vaccines. And I will say this, while Garnet is handing this out, I took my mom to get her COVID vaccine, and it's okay, she don't care if you all know this, but I took my mom to do this. We went through on the first dose through the health department right up here in Maynardville. We did the second dose at Alder Springs Church, and I'll tell you folks, these people have got it together. When we went through, it was seamless. They had everything ready to go. We had to wait our normal time, and we were out of there. And the Alder Springs setup is amazing. It really, really works. So Garnet, kudos to you, your whole department. You guys have been doing an awesome job. So thank you. We need to give her a round of applause. So folks, the health department has been put at their wit's end, I'm sure. But with that being said, Garnet, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you. Well, good evening. And first of all, I want to say I'm very honored to represent your local health department. And you have a tremendous team at the Union County Health Department, as Mayor Bailey was sharing. We have a very small staff that does extraordinary things. So I'm not going to read to you each piece of this handout, but what I want to share is a couple of things. This is a county snapshot, and this information can be downloaded from the Tennessee Department of Health website. You can get this every day. looking at the different trends of data and where we are with active cases and those who have recovered. So currently for Union County, you have 24 active cases of COVID-19, and you have about 1,825 that have recovered. So that's remarkable. So what this also looks at is a snapshot in time of 7 and 14 days. So a 7-day mark and a 2-week mark of your active cases. And so where you see the highlighted orange area, that is looking at community transmission. So that captures a point in time of looking at high community transmission rate or substantial or low. In Union County, based on the number of cases you have in a 7 to 2-week time period, puts you in a substantial rate. And that's where you see that over 7 days at 12%. So that's what that means. The other thing I wanted to point out to you, of course, our current focus right now is prevention and with the COVID vaccine availability, as Mayor Bailey was talking about. So in Union County, you have about 24% of your population who have been vaccinated. So it's about 8,000 individuals in Union County. And then what I wanted to highlight is what your local health department has been able to contribute to that. So since March, well, through March of this year, your local health department has provided vaccinations to 5,522 doses of vaccine. So that's counting first and second doses for individuals. So of course the Moderna and the Pfizer are both second, you have to have one first dose and then you have to have a second dose. And we personally do not have the Janssen vaccine, which is the 1-dose vaccine. We do still provide COVID testing twice a week. And then we also have an Everlywell test, which is the self-administered COVID test that individuals can pick up as well. Do y'all have any questions?
Do you know of anyone that's caught it after they had the 2 shots?
I personally don't know them, but we do have breakthrough cases, yes. There are breakthrough cases in the state of Tennessee, but I don't know if there's any in Union County.
What about if they had the COVID, any breakthrough cases after they already had it?
If you go past, well, what the research has found is that you build antibodies after you've had COVID. And what we're recommending is you don't get your vaccine until that 90-day mark or later. But individuals can still become infectious even before that 90-day mark because everybody's body is different. Unless your physician will do something to draw the antibodies to test your immunity at some point, you can still become infectious with COVID.
Okay.
That's a good question.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you.
All right, thank you, Garnet. All right, folks, I don't think there are any more announcements. If not, moving right along, number 6 is to approve list for public comments. Ginger, we have no comments. Number 7 is to approve minutes of the March 22nd meeting. When it gets back over to the right screen, you guys will be able to vote in just a second. Got to move to one more, folks. All right, approve the minutes. If I can have a motion and a second. We have a motion by Deborah, a second by Sydney Jesse. So go ahead and vote. iPads. Folks at home, this is to vote for the minutes. Jeff, how do you vote?
For.
And Becky, how do you vote?
For.
Thank you. And motion carried. All right, moving to the next one is to approve notaries. And you have the notaries in your packet. Excuse me, we have 3 notaries here. I won't read the names, you have those in your packet. I have a motion to accept by Don Flatford, have a second by Sydney Jesse. Folks with the iPads, go ahead and vote. And as far as the notaries, Jim Chesney, how do you vote?
For.
And Becky, how do you vote?
For.
Thank you very much. All right, motion passed. All right, next, county mayor's report. All right, let me switch back to the other screen. All right, folks, Commissioners, if you'll look in your packets, and folks, you can look up to the screen, and I'll have my mayor's report up there as well. Just going through real quick, folks, the upcoming public meetings. I do want to point out one meeting that's out of the ordinary that I want to put together. If you will notice, on May the 17th, I'm calling a meeting with any county commissioner that would like to attend, as well as the fire department chiefs, because I think that we've had a lot of misinformation as far as what the fire chiefs think county commission knows and vice versa. So we need to sit down and talk about this, because a lot of questions have come up about contributions and funding. So we need to sit down and hash some things out. So I'm calling this meeting for, again, this is May the 17th. This is actually the day right before the budget committee. So again, any commissioner that can come out and listen and be a part of this, I welcome you to do so, as well as the fire chiefs. We're going to get folks out to represent all the fire stations, and we're going to sit down and we're going to talk, and we're going to figure some stuff out. So that is coming up on the 17th. So are there any other meetings are there any chairs of any meetings here, or any committees that need a meeting? I don't believe so. If not, then these are the meetings for May, and we'll move on. Thank you very much. All right, mayor's report. As far as the grants go, you see the grants up at the top. Those are ongoing. We're working on right now. I do want to point out a new match that's coming to Union County. It's called the Local Road Safety Initiative Program, and that's where Mr. David Cox will receive $250,000 at no match. And let me say that again, at no match. Good job, David Cox, to do some safety improvements for Walker's Ford Road, Sharp Chapel Road, and Corrington Electoral Road. So we're actually going on a ride along tomorrow. Is that right, David? To look at what this grant will encompass and what it will take care of. So good job to David and his department for doing that. Also, we've been working with District Attorney General Effler and Jared Effler and his assistant Tyler Hurst. We actually applied for a grant that's called the Victims of Crime Safe Act, or Crime Act, and this is a $10,000 grant that we received Friday, I believe it was. And this is to actually take the Tennessee Highway Patrol office that's on the first floor that is rarely used. Honestly, it's just for storage pretty much for the Highway Patrol. We're actually going to move them somewhere else, and we're going to redo that room with this grant. This will be a safe place for victims that have to come to testify in trials and things like that to go. It's also going to be a place where children can go with toys and different things like that to ease the burden. So that's what we're doing with that grant. And again, I appreciate Jared Effler and his staff for helping us with that grant. So that's another one that's coming. Also, a potential grant that we're looking at is a grant that's, Sheriff, was it around about $100,000 for video arraignments? It's around a $100,000 grant that we're trying to get for video arraignments. And what that means is basically the judge can sit right here with the proper video equipment, and all this stuff has to be state court approved. You know, we can't just put up a webcam. It has to be approved, and it has to be legit, whatever license. But the judge can sit right here and do the arraignments with the folks in the jail. So it saves the folks from the jail having to come up, different things like that. So, and this will not only be for this courtroom, it's also for the lower courtroom, and other judges can have access to this as well, as we won't just be Judge Edmondson, any judge that wants to do it. So there is a lot of equipment that goes to that, because again, it has to be just special so-so for the ALC, and that's the Administrative Office of the Court. So that is something that we've looked at doing, and hopefully we'll hear from that grant soon. Also, the home grant, we're getting ready for another home grant. $500,000 is coming our way. Of course, the DAG money, I do want to point this out. When I say DAG, that is Direct Access Grant. That's the money from the state of Tennessee. As I told you guys, I believe it was last month, excuse me, last month's meeting, this money will be coming in, I believe we said August, around August or September. But here's the thing, folks. There is actually, and this is coming from the comptroller, there is so much money right now being forced into the economy through the Biden administration, through states, through whatever, that it's causing a real supply and demand issue. So the state is actually going to hold their money back. This other allocation that's coming out, $653,000 until January, basically to give us time to spend some money. And you know, what a time that we're in right now. You know, they're holding back money because we can't spend it fast enough. I mean, I just never thought I'd hear that, but that's why, folks. So anyway, Ann and I prepared a budget to put into the budget because we know the money's coming, but it's not coming until January. So just to catch you up on that. Also, the American Rescue Plan. This is money from the federal government. Union County will get $3.87 million. This is an estimation. We will get 50% of this May, next month, and we will get the other 50% next May. So what I want to do with this money is put the largest majority toward broadband internet for Union County because we need it desperately. But I think there are going to be some public utilities get in the internet game, and it may save us a lot of money, folks. So if we're not spending this on internet, we may want to look at expanding water. We may want to look at doing other things for the county. And folks, I think really what we need to look at with this money coming in, we need to look at our infrastructure and how we're going to help our citizens. Because this is $3 million that we are getting to do just that. So I will keep everybody updated on the internet project and what's going there, and we'll figure out what we need to do and go forward. And again, the last grant is the Tennessee Local Parks and Rec Grant for our sports complex over in Luttrell. Also, the county buildings and property, just to give everybody an update, the Pollock Community Center is 100% finished. If you have driven by here in the last week, we have a brand new parking lot. We had it resealed, we had it striped. It looks so good. The whole building has literally been redone. A brand new kitchen, new paint. It looks really, really good. So if you haven't stopped by the Pollock building, check it out. But all of our buildings are getting updated as we go on, folks. It's going to look really, really nice, and they needed it desperately. But here's some couple of things that we're looking at as far as project bids that are either out or that we're looking to put out pretty quick. And again, these are all funded by DAG. Community Center paving, I've got a meeting with a guy this week. The security cameras, we've accepted the bid on that. Cameras will be going in the next couple of weeks. Submitted some designs for county signs. And also I'm meeting with a gentleman this week about looking at some property over in the Speeple area for a community center. So we got a lot going on, And the last two things here on my attachments are the sales tax comparisons from March, the last 3 years, and also TDOT updates. And we'll scroll down to this. As you guys can see, Union County, it's hard to see, but it's where the little star is. We're at 70%, folks, in sales tax. I mean, that's amazing. You can see from, I believe the first column here is March 2019. This is March 2021. We went from $48,000 to $81,000. I mean, that's huge. So our sales tax, we're doing pretty good on sales tax, folks. And also, I won't go through all this, but every now and then, TDOT will send me some updates on what's going on with Union County, and this is just to keep you guys updated on what's going on with all the new projects. So I believe that's it for my report. Does anybody have any questions on anything? Yes, sir.
Just a reminder, try to get bids for steel for the stage.
Yes, sir. Yes, that's on my desk. Yeah, ready to go. Yes, Jeff, you have something?
The American Rescue Plan, going back to it.
Yeah.
I agree with you on broadband. I really agree with you there. But is that restricted funding at all?
There are a couple of earmarks on that, Jeff. The majority of it, well, I don't say the majority of it, there are 4 earmarks. Now, I don't have them in front of me, I can get those to you, but basically infrastructure is one, that's where the broadband falls under. There's also, you can actually use some of this money to balance your budget if you need to. Of course, we don't need that, but you can do that. And there's 2 more, again, I don't want to misquote, so yell at me after the meeting, I can get you a copy of it, it's no problem. But there are 4 main earmarks for that.
I guess what I'm trying to say is the 3.87, is there any projection of what broadband would cost to bring it to this side of the lake?
Not really. And again, there's a public utility, I'll go ahead and tell you, KUB is looking to do the exact same thing that Powell Valley Electric did in Sharps Chapel. So if that's the case, they may not need our money. So, I mean, they're looking to do this everywhere. So if that's the case, then we won't have to put anything in it and we can look at something else. But that's why I say that. So that's where we are.
Yeah, that's a lot of money. You know, it could even be proposed in budget and finance, maybe to give taxpayers a break. We've got all this money, you know?
Yeah, but keep in mind, it's a one-time, it's not reoccurring. So,
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Over there in Big Ridge, so we're city here, we're not county here.
Absolutely, I understand. Yes, ma'am. Totally understand that. Absolutely, yes.
One more thing, it might be my ignorance. Somebody, I don't think it's in this report, I think occasionally you will put on there an internet sales tax. Does anybody know exactly how that works?
The internet sales tax, how we get it, I don't know all the details, no. I mean, it comes to us through the trustee's office as far as that goes.
I just wonder if that's like the order something from Amazon.
Oh, it is.
It goes,
Yes.
credit card, zip code.
Yes, sir, that is most definitely what it is. As far as the formula on how it gets to us, I'm not exactly sure, but I can find that out.
So this number that's on there is just gross dollars, it's not what we actually.
Yes, as far as I know, and Andy, I don't believe internet tax internet sales is factored into that, is it?
I would think sales tax for internet sales would be now showing up in that number.
In that?
And you know, at one time, we weren't charging sales tax for internet sales, and that
Yeah.
changed in the last year.
Sure.
So I think part of that increase is based on internet sales tax.
And honestly, and you see the big jump there, and that could be it. So, I mean, I'll find the answer for that. and let
It
you know.
buys people if they're ordering something big, don't drive the knock, they order it.
Absolutely.
Not necessarily, because like, see, my zip code's not a Union County zip code, it's an Anderson County, so, like, somebody's mailing address, then that's not actually coming into the county, that's going, like, mine would be going to Anderson County, because that's where my zip code is, even though I live in Union County.
And I believe they have things in place to do that, Dawn. Again, I don't know all the details, but I'll find out, and I'll let you guys know next meeting. Absolutely, I'll find out.
Just for clarification.
You got it.
Right.
But I mean, honestly,
People understood.
you saw the big jump. We jumped $40,000,
That's what
so,
got my attention.
oh, yeah, yeah.
And so,
Well,
like,
pandemic, everybody
some of
said,
them says.
Exactly.
Living in Union County.
All right, any other questions? If not, moving right along. All right, next we have the, let's see, mayor's report. Where am I at on my agenda, folks? Number 10, to appoint the redistricting committee. All right, folks, let me explain myself on this. I made a mistake, and I want to point this out. Kenny Hill, I'm kicking you off the redistricting committee, and here's why. Here's why. Folks, what I did is when I made this committee, I looked at who's on the budget committee and who's not on the budget committee. So if you're on the budget committee, you stayed on the budget committee. If you are not, then you are going to be on the redistricting committee. Of course, there are two commissioners that are left out on that. Mr. Chesney, which I know, Jeff, you've had some health issues, and Deborah, I know that you had asked not to be on committees and different things like that, so that's why I did what I did. So on the list that you have, for district number 5, you have Kenny Hill. Mark that out. That needs to be Jeff Brantley. And again, that's my mistake. So, so those folks, if you guys are okay with that, if everybody's fine with that, you will be the committee that gets together to look at redistricting for the county as far as the census goes. So with that being said, if everybody is okay with that, I will open up the floor for a motion to accept.
Mr. Chairman,
There you go, Jody. You're getting the hang of it. We got a motion by Jody, a second by Janet.
I'd like to say one thing on the redistricting committee for Union County. I think 10 years ago, the 3rd district suffered the biggest redistrict because of taking people out of the 3rd district and putting them in the Russell area, which would be the 2nd district. So I feel like that the committee should be made up equally between Democrats and Republicans. And I don't think that it have to be commissioners or whatever. So
Is that your opinion?
that's my opinion.
So noted. All right, we have a motion on the floor. We have a second. And Jody, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that didn't necessarily pan out the way you think it did, because we lost the commission.
Yeah, you
Thank you
did.
guys,
You did.
All right, folks at home, folks with the iPads, go ahead and vote. And this is to approve, Jeff and Becky to approve the redistricting committee. Jeff, how do you vote?
For.
And Becky, how do you vote?
For.
All right. Waiting on you, Earl. All right, motion carried. Okay, number 11 is the library board report. Ms. Kim, will that be you? Go on up, Ms. Kim.
I'm reporting for March. So just to, and I'll just say this at the beginning, just to give you an idea of what we do every day regardless. Just customer care, which includes copies, faxes, check-ins, check-outs, interlibrary loans, cleaning and sanitizing, organizing of materials, and just the library itself, adding, weeding, and editing items in our Verso system. We also have reference questions. We counted 113, reference calls 29, and then just some one-on-one help that ranged from homework, general computer use, cell phone help, and just various other things like research and it could be, it's a lot of different things. One of my questions that it was kind of funny, but one of my questions last week was, it was a call, and do you know a beekeeper? I have bees. And I said, well, actually I do. So, but anyway, our homeschoolers are still meeting each week. Our quilters are still meeting each week and working on projects. We had 2 pop-up programs, and those are programs when I just have a lot of kids that are just in the library, and so to keep them from getting rowdy, I try to have a program that's ready, or if I hear them getting rowdy, I can go out and say, hey, let's do this, you know. So we had a all about bones, where we actually observed what we, after researching on the computer, theorized that it was either a horse jawbone or a cow jawbone that the kids had found in front of the library. So, and then we had a kite making program, and we read about flight. Our Lego challenge was all about Ireland, so we had books set up, and I try to have a theme for each month, and so I set out books. So the goal is that to get the kids reading. That's always the main goal, is to get them reading. And so they have to read from the books and then build something that they learn from the books. And then our book challenges, adult, young adult, junior, and easy reading challenge is still going on. And I just posted how many that we have that are participating at the moment. Our junior book challenge is the most, we have the most participants for that one. Our after-school story time was the rainbow fish, the book about the rainbow fish, and we talked about sharing, and then they did a craft where they made a fish. And I had 7 or 10 puzzle time, and we had 6 that attended that. The Petway grant was submitted for a solar panel, and also, which is for, hopefully soon, the picnic table will go in outside the library. And it's for that. And what it is, it's for the community, especially like for after hours. They can plug in, they won't lose power on their devices, so they can still work on their projects, their work, school, whatever, or just personal things. And it also lights up, and then it'll have our logo on it, so it's really nice. So it's just another valuable source that our patrons can use. And then I've been purchasing new items, so receiving and cataloging the new books, and we've received a few donations to catalog. I submitted the quarterly report. Also, I received the continuing education report. Not all hours were posted on it, but it was just due to date. But if you look at the quarterly report, all of the workshops are on that. So, and it's on the back page. And this is just what I was telling the library board, the electricity meeting was canceled, and I had planned on talking about the concrete bids, submitting those to them. And I also wanted to talk to them about the storybook trip grant for the park. But I was able to collaborate with Alicia from the UT Extension Office, and then get with Major Lawson, and then from there, Alicia was able to go ahead and submit the grant for us, and there again, the goal is just to get the kids reading. So I think it's going to be really nice. We'll be able to purchase, I think, about four different stories that can be changed out throughout the year, and maybe hopefully, in the future, get grants for more. I went on up in Smoky Mountain National Park. I went on the Storybook Trail up there about a week ago, and it was really nice. So I think the kids are going to love it. So, and hopefully the parents will love it too. So, also, let's see, and then just in the report was just more details about the quotes for the concrete, and we had online videos with, I was just reporting that the online videos were receiving an overabundance of views, so hopefully more will come in. The kids really love the police officers, so hopefully we'll get some more in there to record, and then at the time of the report, I had received new books that I was going to unbox, which I have since then unboxed on social media. So, and then it wasn't in the report, but I didn't plan for some reason. So that's supposed to be one of the report. Okay. Any questions? You're welcome.
Thank you, Kim.
Thank you.
John David, on that.
Okay, I'm reporting for Vanderbilt Public and Sharps Chapel. The Sit and Stitch has come back to Sharps Chapel, and they're meeting every Wednesday. And we just got a call from the Pickers, and they're going to be meeting on Wednesdays. So we've got a couple of groups to come back up to the book station. If you haven't been to the book station, please go, because she has done some beautiful curtains on the windows to help with the air and things. The quarterly report is in your packet, and with the weather warming up, people are getting out. The Petway grant is finished. We should know in July if we received or not. We asked for $5,000 for our Cooking Without a Kitchen and our community garden. We received United Way letters stating that we received our grant for $2,000. And we have programs of ongoing story time on Facebook and YouTube. There's about 65 stories that are on YouTube now. And our STEM program, we are working on that with the schools and things. And we've got our Sloth Program going on. Our D&D club is going strong every other Saturday. We've moved it to Saturdays instead of Tuesday nights, and it's going much better. There's quite a few teams that have signed up for that. The high school gave us some plants for our community garden. The frost didn't do them any favors. And the painting of the building looks fantastic. They painted our little barn too. I attended TLA class convention this past month and spent 3 days online with Zoom. Not pretty. I have, one of the things that I wanted to mention to you guys, I mentioned it to the board, is one of the classes that I took with the Tennessee Library Association was getting a social worker in the library to help out. Whenever I first heard it, I thought, that doesn't make sense. But after I did it, it made so much sense because a social worker that's certified can do so much more than what we can. We do so much, like help people with their unemployment, help people with their housing, help them with their social security. But a social worker can go way beyond that, and the way they were talking about it is it was no cost. And that's something that I'm going to be working with our health department on. I think that's a really good thing that could come together, give them the space to have an office and be able to serve the public in a different setting. The Sloth Program is still going very well, where the children are adopting the sloth and reading out loud to it. And they get to take it home, read out loud, and then as they read, every week they can bring in their tickets and get prizes. So we're bribing them to read. The Imagination Library, we have 722 kids enrolled as of right now, and we had 2,211 to graduate as of right now this year. So that's not too bad. We're one of the high ones for communities in Tennessee for Imagination Library. We didn't do any unemployment because there's help wanted signs everywhere this past month. We had 49 questions, calls. We had 136 reference questions we did. One-on-one help, we helped 37. Government help, 28. And cell phone help, that's when they bring in their cell phone and go help. We did 3 of those. So total of reference questions and things that we did this month was 253.
Thank you, Ms. Thompson.
May I have a question, Sean? And for that, on these banned books, does the state tell you you can keep them at the library?
We have a ALA says we don't ban books. We don't. We're public, so if you don't want to read it, don't pick it up.
States has no, okay.
No. Nope. Nobody has nothing. So we encourage banned books. We like them.
I do too. Thank you.
All right, thank you, ladies. The number 12, County Sheriff's Report. Come on up, Sheriff Reed.
Thank you, Mayor. This report is for the month of March. That month we had 812 calls for service. Traffic accidents with injury, we had 4. Traffic accidents, non-injury, 24. Total booked into the county jail, 117. Total release from the jail, 114. Our current jail population is 62. So, any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. Number 13, Ms. Dyer, come on up. Letter A is the monthly finance report.
In your packet, the finance report showing spending through the month of March by function, and also the cash with trustee at the end of March. Are there any questions about those reports? If not, we'll go on into the budget amendments. Page 1 and 2 is General Fund 101. On page 1 is primarily moving monies around within the appropriated budget for the elected officials, moving $3,000 of restricted funds into the jail's budget, putting $1,000 received from United Way, Buckville, or Mansville Library, and putting insurance recovery funds received into the sheriff's budget. On the second page, Mary Beth Pitts came before the budget committee and asked to move monies around within her budget to hire part-time personnel to cover while a person is out on sick leave. And that is all of Fund 101 General Fund.
All right. Open open up the floor for a motion. Have a motion by Janet, second by RL. Any questions on this amendment? If not, I pass, go ahead and vote.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir. That's okay, go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, if you don't care, would you mention briefly what Ms. Kitts had said about moving this money around? There was a time-based situation regarding this.
Yeah, sure. The Register of Deeds, Mary Beth Kitts, came to the meeting, the budget meeting like this past Tuesday. She has 2 employees in her office, one of which has taken a leave, has some serious health issues. So Mary Beth needs a part-time person. So what she has done here, and again, this is basically she's just moving money around within her budget. So please keep in mind, this is no new money. There is absolutely no new money coming anywhere. And it is the right of an office holder to move that money within their budget. It doesn't even need approved by county commission. We just simply do it for transparency. So that is why Ms. Kitts is not asking for any additional money whatsoever.
Roughly the time frame.
The time frame will be, it will be until the end of our fiscal year, June 30, and then July 1 is when her new budget kicks in, so she could either hire someone or whatever she needs to do with her other employees. So that's what's going on with her. So, you're welcome. See, Larry? You have a
Mayor,
question? Go
he
ahead.
also spoke that she was going to ask for another employee first of the year that she needed so bad. And she discussed that several minutes too, so.
Yeah, but again, that's in the upcoming budget.
Yeah.
So right now.
Yeah, but she may next month ask for us to fund that next year. Which Mary Beth's budget, I think, is lower than anybody in the county, and she said she desperately needed full time.
All right, any more questions? Okay, folks on the iPad, go ahead and vote. Jeff, how do you vote? For. Becky, how do you vote?
For.
Thank you, guys. And motion carried. Moving on to the next one, Ms. Dyer.
On page 3 of 12 is the highway department moving money around within their appropriated budget.
All right, are we on we're on the next one, eh? All right. Did we get a motion in a second? Okay. Okay, folks, go ahead and vote, and this is for the second budget amendment. Jeff, how do you vote at home? For. Becky, how do you vote?
For.
Thank you, guys. Motion carried. All right. Go ahead, Ms. Dyer.
On top of page 4 is debt service fund 151. We're asking, we had spoken with a finance consultant, and we talked to him about our debt, and we'll have later on the agenda issuing a refunding debt. And their recommendation was to get rid of our principals on our bonds since we have such a fund balance in debt service. And so we're asking to pay off the refunding debt that was issued in 2013, and that would leave us with 2 debts, one for the Pollock building and one for the energy bond issue, which the Pollock building is being funded by the wheel tax, and the energy bonding issue is paid for by the Board of Education by doing contributions to the county.
So essentially, folks, this will be to pay off everything that we have under 101, which will mean 101 has 0 debt, which is amazing. I mean, the thing that we have will be Paulette School, as Ms. Dyer said, and the refunding, which is funded for other sources.
That's great. Will we be doing away with wheel tax?
So the wheel tax.
The wheel tax pays for Paulette Elementary.
Keep it on paper.
Yeah.
Or just get rid of it.
Well, I thought it was for Pollock.
No, this is to basically pay off, well, it was some loans that were combined several years ago. Is that
Several
right?
years ago, in 2013, we combined a lot of outstanding loans. There was a loan for the building across the street, there was a loan for the Pollock sewer, and several other miscellaneous debts that were all rolled up into one debt and reissued. And in that debt, we saved considerable money and pulled in the debt for the Pollock sewer, which was originally issued in 40 years.
Gotcha.
And so, having done that now, and with the fund balance that we have, this $360,000 $60,000 to pay that debt off instead of paying on it for the next 5 years.
What will it say?
What was the projection, ma'am?
Well, the savings on that is principally just the interest for the next 5 years on that debt. We're paying the principal and potentially whatever costs for pulling that bond in.
Do you know about, how ballpark figure what that would be?
Roughly about $23,000.
It's like,
Yeah.
All right, Larry, do you have a question?
I've got a comment. I know you said Paulette funding, which that will taxpayers for it, but it also pays for the funding for the other schools too.
For 2 of
It's just not Paulette.
Right.
Everybody said Paulette, which for the other schools too, because they done make it work on it.
Right.
It was,
It's 2 other schools.
yes, of course, we built Paulette, Bigger Edge Chapel, and Luttrell, right?
Well, there was
yeah, it don't.
work done on all the elementaries, but there was another issue, loan issued for 2 or 3 schools, or 2 or 3 schools were included in the Paulette. But there were 2 debts issued for the school, all the elementary schools to have some remodeling done, and the purchase of Paulette.
Gotcha, yeah. All right. See? Yes, sir.
Which school was the wheel tax put on for? Was it for Paulette or Manual High School?
No, Paulette. Yeah.
Yeah, but what she's saying is when they,
I know what you're talking about.
when they paying this money back, Sharp Chapel's in on that deal.
Right.
It's some remodeling Sharp Chapel.
I understand that.
Paying this money will pay off, has nothing to do with power.
Right.
Nothing to do with.
No, I just wanted to know which
Just
school
others.
the wheel tax was first put on for.
We also spent $1.5 million on these other schools that was added into that same bill.
Larry, do you have another question or comment, or? No? Okay. All right, if we have no other questions or comments, we have a motion to approve by Joe Smith, a second by Gary England. So I've had it, you can go ahead and vote on this one. Folks at home, Jeff Tiffany, how do you vote? For. Becky, how do you vote? For. Thank you. All right, motion carried. Ms. Dyer?
On the bottom of page 412 is our capital projects, Fund 171. I'm adjusting the budget that we had originally in place for property tax for capital projects. When we moved the pennies, I didn't increase the budget for that, so I'm just correcting that. So it doesn't look like we under budgeted the receipt on that revenue.
Yes, ma'am. All right, we have a motion by Janet, a second by Dawn. No questions, I've had it, go ahead and vote. Jeff, how do you vote? For. Becky, how do you vote? For. Thank you very much. Motion carried. Go ahead, Ann.
On page 5 of 12 is Fund 172 for community development, asking to move $30,000 out of fund balance in that fund and putting it into the Farm Cave project to complete that project.
So we have a motion by Sydney, a second by Laurel. Any questions on this? If not, I've had it, go ahead and vote. Jeff, how do you vote? For. Becky, how do you vote? For. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Gary, waiting on yours. Thanks, sir. All right, motion carried.
Okay, on page 6 of 12 is, 6 and 7 is Fund 141, General Purpose Schools. Basically moving monies within the appropriated budget, revising their budget based on the January revised correction from DEP, adding additional salary funding received from the state for teachers' bonuses, and also TNVA growth money administration fee based on their growth this past year, and then the rest is coming from fund balance.
Have a motion by Jeff Brantley. Do I hear a second? Second by Sydney. Any questions on this one? If not, I've had to go ahead and vote. Jeff, how do you vote? For. Becky, how do you vote? For. Thank you. Motion carried.
Pages 8 through 11 are all federal programs. Fund 142, just different sub-funds. 101, consolidated administration, is moving monies around within the appropriate budget from the federal program. Page 9 of 12, at the top of the page is sub-fund 011, consolidated administration, moving monies around there. The bottom of the page is sub-fund 501, moving monies around within that grant, next spending of that grant. 10 of 12 is the ESSER 934 sub-fund. This is ESSER 2.0. We had an ESSER early in the year. We've been given another ESSER, and there will be a 3.0 later on in the year, possibly, if not at the first of next fiscal year, but putting that ESSER 2 money into the schools fund. On page 11 of 12, we're moving monies around within ESSER 1, maximize the spending of that grant. All of those are federal projects.
Well, thank you, Ann. Okay, we have a motion by Dawn, a second by Sydney. No questions. I heads vote. Jeff, how do you vote? For. Becky, how do you vote?
For.
Thank you. And motion carried. Last one.
Finally, on page 12 of 12 is Fund 145, Upper Education, known as SST and VA, putting their growth funds into their VEP into their budget, and as it will be spent.
Motion by Gary England. Second by Kenny Gill. Any questions on this one?
How much is the VEP per student now?
I can't tell you what it is per student.
It's not really calculated per student.
Right.
Different students, lower grades, get 190, CTPs, 190. It's not really based on the per student.
No. Okay. Any more questions? Okay, we're voting. Jeff, how do you vote? For. And Becky, how do you vote?
For.
All right. Thank you. Motion carries. All right. Thank you, Ms. Dyer. We have no surplus this month. Is that right?
That's correct.
All right. Thank you very much. All right, folks. Let's see. Number 13 is to appoint 2 members to the Union County Library Board. I actually need to change that tonight. I'm actually only going to recommend 1. Had something fall through on my other person, so we'll have to do that in May. But I am recommending to the County Commission that we reappoint Sarah McLean to the Union County Library Board. And as I said again, we will look at the other appointment in May. So do you have any questions on this? Questions, concerns? If not, we have a motion by Jeff Brantley, a second by Janet Holloway. No questions. If everybody would vote on that, please. And Jeff, how do you vote? For. Becky, how do you vote?
For.
Thank you, guys. Motion carried. All right. Number 15 is old business. No old business that I know of. Number 16 is new business. Do we have any new business to discuss? Nope. All right. Number 17, we have 2 addendums, folks, and let me explain this. The first one here is to approve or disapprove our contract between Union County and Southern Health Partners. And if you guys know, Southern Health Partners is the organization that works with us with the jail to try to lower our inmate medical bills. So that is a contract, in my personal opinion, we do need to keep up. As you guys know, that saves us a lot of money. So there is a form letter that was sent to you guys just explaining that. So if you have any questions, I'll entertain those now. If not, then we'll move on. So, Sydney, go ahead.
Do we have anybody else we can check, to counter check this? I'm not saying it's not listed, but
Sure.
Is there anybody else that we can check with to see if we are getting first shake?
I'll ask the sheriff, maybe Ann. He's asking, as far as Southern Health is who we use. Have you ever checked on anybody else or anything like that as far as for this service?
That's one of the more prevalent outfits that's in jails across East Tennessee. I mean, if there's something you can find out there that's, we'll be
I don't know where to start, but I mean, I know that's a lot, they do save us a lot of money, I don't get it wrong. But I just want to make sure that when we have to cut them a check or whatever, that we're getting the best bang for our buck. That's all, I agree that, and without them, we'd be in trouble. I agree with that. But I'm just asking, is there somebody else we can compare them to say, here's A and here's B? Because we don't have no check and balance right now with that.
How much increase are they receiving this go around?
3%. Right now,
That's correct.
3%.
All right, Gary, go ahead.
Back several years ago, when we were first entering into this thing and everything, we met with, 3 different companies. And this company here was by far ahead of the other 2.
Yeah.
Now, that was like 10 years ago, so I don't know what may have developed since then, but
Sure.
at that time, there was a big difference.
And they've been in place, excuse me, in place ever since I've been here, and I've been very pleased with it.
All right, Earl, go ahead.
Since I'm on the budget and finance, and we've got a new budget coming up here that we've really got to work on this coming month, should we not put that off and maybe check on to see if we can get it cheaper or whatever from somebody or some other companies or whatever?
And when does the contract expire?
I mean, don't let the contract run out, but you understand what I'm saying?
June
We've got $331,000 come up with,
June 30th.
Okay, how much?
$331,000.
I mean, I guess that's up for discussion. I mean, if that's something you guys want to look at not approving tonight and see, but the contract expires in June, so we have to have something in place, is all I'm saying. But, I mean, that's up to this board.
And if we put it off for next month, we give 30 days or whatever to check, and that's all I'm asking. We may not find it cheaper, but I would just like to see if there is an option out there. And if it's higher, then we've still got time to act on it and to enforce it.
Man, could probably go back to record when we did that before.
Where are we coming up with $331,000?
That's what we're showing.
That's on FY '22 budget. We are $331,000 away from balancing the budget. That has nothing to do with this.
No, it has
Right,
nothing to do with
yeah,
this.
this is 144. For
Yeah,
a
let
whole
me-
year.
And might I recommend too, if you're looking for other companies, I just wouldn't look at the bottom penny, I would also look at quality assurance. There's a lot of liability down there in the jail, a lot of possibility of lawsuits, if these people don't get proper medical care.
Have you been sued in the last year, Gary?
Have I?
I mean, has the county been sued over medical in the last year or 2?
Yes. One of them we won, one of them's pending.
Let me, I've got a lot of people requesting to speak, so I'm going to honor what's up here. So I'm going to go down the line here. Sydney, and then Deborah, you're next. Go ahead, Deborah.
I think it's a little late in the game to adopt any kind of researching for a new health provider for the jail. This might be something that we need to, or have the sheriff to look at in the incoming year for next year's agreement, but I think it's just a little late in the game to do that because you definitely don't want that contract to run out. And I see Sydney's point about just checking, but we need to make sure that we keep an agreement with Southern Health, I think, at this time.
Okay. All right, next I've got Larry. Larry, do you have anything else to say?
This contract, has it furnished the medicine and everything, sir?
Because we have a doctor on staff as well, not only just a nurse 40 hours a week, which really we could use a nurse more than 40 hours a week, honestly.
This $144,000, is that for everything medical in the jail?
Unless they have to outsource something.
It used to be a lot more than that.
Oh, absolutely, and you can ask me, and they have a lot of bargaining power when it comes to negotiation as far as medical deals now. I don't know if you've got that figure with you, Jane, as far as how much.
The last time I looked at it, we had spent over $450,000 if we didn't have Southern Health.
Yep.
Yeah, it's terrible. Does this include the hospital bills and everything?
Yes.
No,
It's separate.
yeah, like if we have sent somebody to the hospital, we get a bill, but Southern Health Partners negotiates that bill, and usually they'll negotiate it down very low.
As much as 70%.
Yes.
Thank you.
Joe?
I basically just want to echo what Commissioner Keg and the sheriff also said, we're getting quality, we know it's there, and we know the savings are there. The second thing is, and I agree, maybe next year we could look at something that we are in the ninth hour with this contract. And I don't think by June 30th, we could, even if we found somebody cheaper, we could survey what they're offering us and what they're giving us for cheaper versus even having time to assure another contract, so.
Could we ask for a contract extension? And do you have any, would that be an
That's
option?
what this is, a contract extension for another year.
But so there's no way that we could ask them to give us 3 months?
I'm sure we can ask, I don't know what their answer would be, but we can ask.
So to reclaim the right to speak, I was just gonna say, I'm with you. Hey, we ought to look at it, but I don't think we got time this year. And I don't think that a contract extension on a contract that's existing is feasible.
All right, Dr. Wood?
I just want to reiterate too, I agree with what they say, we're in our 11th hour here, we really don't have time to research and get all the information we need to do to look into another carrier for this, and as long as Billy is happy with it and they're doing a great job, sometimes it's better not to stir it, and a 3% increase is not a bad increase. So, I agree, I mean, to look into it next year would be good, but right now, I think we're running this a little bit too late.
And I will say this too, in past litigation, and people can sue for anything, any day, any time of the week, if it happened or not. Southern Health Partners, their documentation is spot on and has been a big help in previous lawsuits to help us get this message.
All right, I think I've honored everyone's request. Anybody else before we move on? Yes, ma'am.
Jeff, you had said I might have what in my
Well, I
office?
mean, I understand what everybody's saying. They're saying it's late in the game to change pictures, you know. But Commissioner beside me, he said we can look into it. Now, I remember when we did this, we had 2 or 3 options. Mike Williams was mayor. I don't know if you can remember it or not, but it might be in your archives over there or something. If they want to, you know, look at changing.
I think it would just be in the county commission minutes.
Yeah.
Yes, which are, I don't know if those are online yet or not, which we're working on, but that would be the only thing I would be able to pull, because actually Ann or the sheriff probably would have better knowledge of that than we would if it's not in the minutes.
And see, we got a budget coming up, and I don't know what the renewal date is on that new mayor.
July 1.
July 1. So we can't afford to go without a provider, see.
But if anybody needs a copy of the minutes, just give me a call.
Yeah.
Look it up.
But it would tell us who the other 2 options were. I think there was 2 more options.
Okay.
All right. All right, folks, let's see, we have a motion by Gary and a second by Jody. So if there are no more questions, go ahead and vote on this. And Jeff, how would you like to vote?
For.
And Becky?
For.
Thank you, guys. All right, motion carries. All right, the next one, and folks, let me explain myself on this one too. The packet of paper that I handed out right before the meeting, let me explain what we're doing here. This is to approve or disapprove the issuance of general obligation refunding bonds. Now, basically what that means is we're looking to refund a bond that the school system has for their energy savings program. By doing this, it's going to save us $114,000. This is completely funded by the Board of Education. That's why in parentheses you see UCBOE, Union County Board of Education. They pay for all of it. So basically what we're doing is we're refunding this to save $114,000 and to get this paid off cheaper, just to be honest. And as far as the life of the loan, it doesn't affect that. The interest rate is lowered, of course, and Attorney Myers has looked over this this afternoon. He says everything looks legit, ready to go. If you have any spot-on questions, go ahead and ask Attorney Myers. But folks, it looks like it's a no-brainer. We're saving money. The school system pays for it. But any questions, by all means, ask David. If not, all right, do we have a motion? Did we get a motion?
Motion by Commissioner Arnold, second by Commissioner.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Go ahead and vote. And Jody, Jeff, how do you vote?
For.
And Becky, how do you vote?
For.
Thank you very much. And motion carried. All right, folks, before we we adjourn, please remember, Budget Committee is working hard on their budget. This is coming up in May, so remember, Commissioners, you're welcome to come to the meeting. Public, you're welcome to come to the meeting to see what we got going. We have several options available for us to balance the budget, so there's no doubt in my mind that it will be balanced. We have several options. We've got a lot of things to look at, so keep that in mind. And again, folks, if you have any questions about the budget, please call and ask. Please, please, please call and ask. That's all you have to do. All right. Deborah, did you?
Yes, just looking at this certified piece of mail that, this has been sent to the appropriate.
We sent it to the Pollock Fire Department and also to the registered agent in the records, to the Secretary of State.
You've not had any
I
kind of
have no
response.
reply.
Thank you.
All right. If nothing else, do I have a motion to adjourn? Motion by Sydney, second by Jeff. What's that? Oh, hold on one second before we go. Yes, sir.
I gave you some paperwork to get to them.
Yes.
Did they not receive it?
That paperwork is what's in the folder, Daniel. Yes, sir. That's everything that you communicated through David. Yes,
Well, right
sir.
now, some of the information that we requested is not going to be answered as far as the personal addresses, phone numbers, things of that nature for our employees. But I do have some of the other paperwork, and I'm hoping that on the 17th, we can clear up any other issues, and was hoping that some of the paperwork that I gave you would negate some of the false accusations / made-up misinformation that's been disseminated, because that's hurting not only the agency, but the community, and I don't want you guys looking, you know what I'm saying, I want to make sure that you guys know we're following what we're supposed to do.
Sure. And again,
Not any misinformation being continuously redisseminated, because that's what's happening.
right. And I think that meeting, Daniel, I think that'll clear a lot of things up. I'm looking forward to that.
Okay.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, folks. All in favor, let it be known by voting on your iPad. Jeff, Becky, are you for? All right, now. Have a good night. Motion carried, folks. Have a good night.